To film or not to film? That is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind's eye to film oneself or not film oneself. Oh, hi. Our next guest is a middle school teacher who influenced kids with social studies, history, and theater. Stick around. Okay, are you from Grinnell?
No.
No, okay. Where are you from?
I grew up in Mankato, Minnesota, which is a town of about 30,000 people south and west of Minneapolis, about an hour and a half.
Okay, so talk me through like the story of how you got here.
We got here. Well, my husband is a pastor, and we had several calls. We had our first call in South Dakota, where he was a pastor for 6 years. And then he got a call to go to southern Missouri, so we went to a church in southern Missouri for 2 years. It was a little too far south for us. And so he got the call then to come to Emmanuel Lutheran Church at Grinnell. And, the congregation sent us information about the town, and the fact that it had a college was a draw for me because I don't ever want to live in a town that doesn't have a college. So when we looked at other things, the church and the community, he accepted the call, and that's how we came here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're primarily a teacher for a really long time. How did you get into your position?
Well, I actually graduated from college with a degree in theater and English. So if somebody had told me I was going to be a fifth grade teacher, I'm not sure I would have believed them. But anyway, when I came here, I started to sub when our youngest was in kindergarten. And there was I subbed out to middle school quite a bit, and then one of the teachers was going to be gone for a year to work on his master's. So I filled in teaching social studies and math at the fifth grade level, and then he never came back. So I just kind of stayed, and then for whatever reason, my degree, when I got it, somehow allowed me to be able to teach at a fifth grade level because there was not a middle school endorsement at the time. And so it just somehow it worked. And
Did you have to get a different, did you have to get more degrees or anything later on, or were you able to just kind of stick with the position?
Well, I was fine for a long time, even though I knew that my certificate was not right for the job, and yet it just kind of, for whatever reason. And then, 8 years ago, the fifth grade team was going to lose one person on the team because of, the size of the class coming in. And so I remember it was at the end of the school day, and the principal, Pam Mule, came in and sat down next to me. She said, we're going to be losing a fifth grade teacher, and unfortunately that's you. And I said, but I've been here so much longer than everybody else. But then she said, yeah, but you have a conditional certificate, because I was working on a middle school endorsement at the time. And because my certificate was conditional and not the one that they needed, I was the one that was going to be bumped. Even though technically I taught 7th grade social studies and 8th grade social studies, I should have been able to bump those people, but they weren't aware of that. So what happened was then that they got me into a couple classes that were already starting, so I kind of came in the middle of the semester and finished the endorsement by the time that the school board needed the certificate. So it was it was heart-wrenching for me and for the students because they thought I'd be leaving. And luckily it worked out that I didn't have to.
Are you still teaching?
No, I retired 3 years ago.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how many years did you teach?
Counting the year that I subbed for the whole year, and then the year after I retired, I went back and taught a world cultures class, 2/3 time. So counting that, it was 25 years.
Okay. So when you first started teaching, fifth grade, what was your thoughts? Were you thinking this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, or you're like, oh, there's no way I'm going to stick around with this?
No, I really, right from the very beginning, I really liked it. And then over time, I became more of a social studies teacher. and went to different seminars around the country and ended up traveling to every single place I taught about. So a lot of the Civil War sites, the Revolutionary sites, Plymouth Plantation, Lewis and Clark, the indigenous, where the different tribes live. So every single place I traveled to. And so it became kind of a focus for me, and it really aided in my teaching and getting kids interested in history. And eventually found out it was what I was meant to do, I believe.
So what was your favorite social studies thing to teach?
Well, over the years it changed. When I first started, I had done some storytelling in the past, Tom Sawyer, Laura Ingalls Wilder, that kind of thing, and then somebody in 5th grade said, if you would like to do some more of this, we would like you to. And they said, is there a subject you've been interested in? And I go, well, I've always kind of been interested in the Civil War. So I just set out to read everything I could read about the Civil War. I went down to Shiloh, Tennessee on a whim and went to a reenactment there, a Confederate reenactment, and I ended up buying a Confederate uniform and put together a story called Johnny Reb, story of a Confederate soldier who lied about his age getting into the war. And then I ended up taking that around to different schools and communities for a long time. And then I kind of got spent with the Civil War and then got interested in the Revolution. And so did some seminars, a 3-week seminar in Virginia I got chosen to do, and went to a lot of the Revolutionary War sites with that. It kind of changed over the years.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk about you had a theater degree, which I did not know that.
Yeah.
But you taught, or not really taught, but you directed the middle school plays and stuff. How did you get into that? How long did that go for?
Well, that started when Frank Schultz had been the director there for years and years. Just amazing, great experiences for the kids. But he had done it for a long time, so when I got hired at the middle school and he found out I had a theater background, then he asked if I'd be interested in doing it. And Mrs. Griggs, as you know, was the music instructor at the middle school at the time. So the two of us worked together. We did plays for 17 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we did it a long time.
I specifically remember, I can accredit all of my theater experience to you because you're the one who looked at me, I want to say in 7th grade, and you're like, hey, you're loud. You'd be great at theater.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you said.
You have a good voice. Yeah, you have a good voice.
So, and that's what actually, I have a theater degree myself
you do
now.
now.
I went and got a bachelor's in fine arts, in Platteville. So
yeah,
that's
nice.
That's all because of you, and
that's
you
good.
work. Do you remember what the play was that we did?
The first play I directed there was Charlotte's Web.
Okay.
And then Tied to the Track, no. I did some kind of not as good of plays in the beginning. Charlotte's Web was good, but some of the other ones were just not, they were kind of comedies. But then we eventually went into, they did a Broadway Junior, so we did Fiddler on the Roof, we did Oklahoma, several of those kind that really gave the kids a great background in doing substantial theater, not just some of that silly stuff that you see middle schools doing sometime. I never wanted to really do that. But Sing Hall for a Prince, was that the one you were in?
No, I did If the Shoe Fits.
If the Shoe Fits.
Yeah, it was you did two short plays.
That's right, we did.
I don't remember the second one at all. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah, it was the first play I ever did.
Yeah, that was probably my second year, maybe. I need to sit down sometime and write out the ones that I did.
Oh, I didn't even know that was the second year. Wow.
Yeah, I think it was probably the second or third year. Yeah.
Okay.
Long time ago.
So let's talk about, do you have any defining moments in your career that you remember, just something special that sticks out to you?
Well, there were many. I was chosen to be the Iowa teacher representative for the day at the House of Representatives in Des Moines. So I got to do that, and they introduced me to the legislature, and they all stood up and clapped. And Dan Quayle happened to be there that day, vice president. So our son Josiah, my husband, and I got to have our picture take Dan Quayle, because he was just up there. But there was another experience where a young man was adopted from Columbia. He was his brother, and he was put in my class not speaking any English. And my class just wrapped around him and we became friends with him immediately. And that became one of the great teaching years of my life with Stephen and with that class, who are graduating next year, by the way. But then I was asked to be a graduation speaker 10 years ago for that class. And that was probably one of the real highlights, is being selected by that class. It was a great day.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So now you retired 3 years ago. What have you been up to since?
Well, we've done a lot of things. We have 7 grandchildren now, so we're able to go to to their activities more. We travel in the fall. Last fall we went up to Cape Breton Island in Nova Scotia. We spent a week up there. We've gone to Yellowstone in the fall, where it was beautiful, and the Grand Tetons. Been able to do those things, like read a lot of books, go on a lot of bike rides.
Yeah, I think that's where I've seen you most, is out on your bike.
Yeah, I love to do that. Go up to the library. I got to sub a little bit, so I enjoy going back to the schools. So pretty much, and Hazard's retired now too, so we pretty much get to do what we want when we want to do it, which is, I wish everybody could have that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about your retirement. How was that a struggle coming up to that time, or were you realize that you were ready, or?
It was, there's a lot of factors that went to it, honestly, that some of the ways that I've been teaching and some of the subject matter that I was teaching, I thought worked really, really well. And some of those curriculum things started to change, where individual teachers did not have a lot of leeway that you had to, like in the reading curriculum, we were supposed to be saying the exact same lines that the other reading teachers were doing, asking the exact same questions on the exact same day. And I found that a little constricting. So I had some problems with that. And that was probably the biggest thing when I was told that we were changing things. And I thought that the way we had been doing it was really good, especially in social studies. And so that led to the decision a little bit. And plus you want to be young enough where you can still travel and do things when you're retired. And they offered a really good package, retirement package. And so where I was looking forward to it, I was really sad. The last week I cried the whole week. The last day was really hard. But now I was satisfied with the decision.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I talked to, I didn't realize, so I was talking to Deb Montgomery last night, and I mentioned that I was going to be interviewing you today.
Yeah.
And her daughter stopped and goes, she was one of my favorite teachers ever. She goes, I cried when she was done.
Yeah.
She goes, when I knew that she was done, I cried. I'm like, oh. Yeah. I know a little bit of me was like, oh, because you had a good impact. You always made class entertaining. Why don't we talk about that? What kind of, so your approach for class every day, can you remember what you wanted to leave on the kids, how you wanted the day to go and stuff?
Well, first of all, what you do is you set up a classroom environment where every child knows that when they come in there, they're friends with everybody, and you set a standard of behavior, and this is how our classroom is. We're all friends. We support each other. So we might not all be best friends outside of this room, but in here, we're supportive. I say to them, we're going to laugh out loud every single day. So they knew when they came in every day it was going to be fun. And I said, I will never give you busy work for the sake of work. That I feel that everything we do in the day has value for you now and as you grow up. So that's kind of so you have to set a standard first in the classroom, and that's what you expect. And then with that, then there's no discipline problems. So then you have all that time to just learn for the sake of learning, for the enjoyment of it. And I really stress, especially in social studies, the importance of loving your country and knowing about the foundation of the country and the founding fathers. And I feel sometimes now that social studies is being kind of forced out because of reading and math and science, and I still feel social studies should be core, because if you don't know as a nation where you came from and your kids don't know, then how do they love the country and want to support it? So that distresses me to some extent. I wish we could focus more on that. But so that was I want them to have fun every day. I want them to learn things that they would remember for the rest of their life.
Okay. So, do you have any advice for someone who's thinking about taking on a teaching career, especially maybe in social studies?
That's a hard question because everybody teaches differently and everybody has different personalities. But I had a lot of parents over time that said they hated history when they were kids. And I said, well, that's because you just read out of a textbook. And a lot of times I could find errors in textbooks all the time. And textbooks take the humanity out of history. It becomes just events that have no human consequences. So you have to teach it from the human perspective, and what was it like for the individual human that went through this, whether it was the early indigenous people that came, or what happened after Columbus came, and what happened when the white, the Europeans came through, and what they did to the American Indians. So you have to look at it from the perspective of an individual, and what it was like for them, and what it felt like for them. And I would say to the kids often, if today you dropped a brick on your foot, it would hurt. If you dropped a brick on the foot of a pilgrim, it would hurt. If you lost a child today, it would hurt. If you lost a child at the time of the revolution, it would hurt. So, all those human emotions aren't any different. So if I were to talk to social studies teachers, that's what I would say. To teach it from the human perspective and not from just a matter of dates and, that kind of thing.
Awesome. Okay. So now the next question might be a little bit difficult, so feel free to take as much time. Some people don't find it difficult, some people do. But what impact do you feel you've made on the community, or at least the students you've had?
So yesterday I went out to Walmart in the morning because it was our grandson's first birthday, and my son wanted me to pick up some birthday hats. So I just checked through, and I'm kind of going out, and I think I hear Mrs. Brandt, but I'm not sure. So then I hear Mrs. Brandt, and I turn around, and here's Alicia Griggs, who I think she just finished her freshman year, and she came up to me and just gave me the biggest hug. Here's this lovely girl who I had, like 4 years ago, who sees me from the back at Walmart and wants to make a point in coming up and giving me a hug like that in the middle of a Sunday morning. So, and I could, ultimately that to me is, that is a great reward, because I have students that I had a long, long time ago that will see me in public. Or I'll hear a word, Mrs. Brandt, I talked to so-and-so, and he said you were one of your favorite teachers. And so the fact that they remember you, you remember I remember my elementary school teachers and the impact. So, I think that's what more can you do than that?
Yeah, I want to say, some teachers, you remember their faces. Mm-hmm. And for you, I remember, there's the moments I remember you, hey, you're loud, you be good at theater, you need a loud voice.
One sentence.
Yeah, and then you say, but you also just the when you talk about your strategy on teaching, your perspective, it almost brought me back to the classroom a little bit. I just remember this feeling of joy, coming to your class.
Yeah.
Because you're going to learn, and you would, I almost feel like you transported people a little bit, like kids and stuff, to learn more and stuff. Whereas some teachers, they were like, 1 + 1 is 2.
Yeah, I know.
And that's.
But then again, on the other side of that, as a theater person, I'm a storyteller. And so people would say, oh, you're a good teacher, and I would say, no, I'm a good storyteller. Because, really history it's stories, except I would say, not only are stories, but they're true. You can't make up. You couldn't write a better story. than America's story at the beginning on how that all happened. So so I got to be a storyteller every day. You know, kids love stories. So there you go. You know, it's a lot easier to remember a story than a series of facts. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then the final question. This is the big one, and you can kind of take a look at it from like when you came here and stuff. But what is it that you love about Grinnell?
Well, you look at the park that we're in right now, and it's just beautiful. Look at all the people. You know, if you could fan the camera around, you know, people are sitting here having lunch. There's kids over playing on the playground. There's kids in the water. We went to the band concert the other night. You know, it's a beautiful, peaceful place. When our families come, like my dad, when he comes, he says, you like live in heaven down there. You know, it almost doesn't exist. People wouldn't believe this existed. You know, and with the college here and all that offers people, you know, it's a lovely, lovely place to live and to raise your children. Our children say we can never move because they always want to come back and go to Dairy Barn in the summertime. So, yeah, it's just, I feel like our life path brought us here, and we were just, you know, just so fortunate.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed the Bridget Brandt interview as much as I did, feel free to hit like and comment down below if you have any favorite Bridget Brandt memories. If you guys were a part of her social studies class or parents of her, of students who were in her class, you know, comment down below. Let us know what you thought. Hit like. If you haven't subscribed already, please, please, please hit that subscribe button. Go to Facebook and Twitter. Share us out. If you're not following on there, please hit follow. You can go to our Patreon. If you donate $5 a month, you'll actually be able to see all these interviews before everyone else. Thank you guys so much for watching. Up next, we're going to have Rodney C. I guess they used to call him Officer Smiley. He now works for the Sheriff's Department, but he's got a really cool story tied in. So I'll see you guys next time.